Hello, I am Nancy Sutherland. I believe that the rooted negativity to a salesperson stems from the lack of due diligence and due care exhibited by the salesperson. As we have discussed ethics, it is obvious that a salesperson acting unethically with value-decreasing behaviors is not creating selling-building partnerships. If our intent is to create selling-building partnerships, then there must be reciprocity and a premier focus on the relationship. In a society given to divorce, child, spousal, and elderly abuse, business fraud and theft, extensive job rotation, threatening business sustainability, etc., this shouts to us that relationship is not supreme. Thus, to be an effective salesperson, you must become rooted and tilled with the value of relationship. There will typically be no selling without relationship. As a salesperson, you must exercise behaviors fostering the value of the relationship as you attempt to conduct business and/or the selling engagement. Understand the value of studying the aspects of selling can be extrapolated to all your relationships. Relational interpersonal skills can be honed and grown to more effectively enhance selling-building partnerships. To be effective and successful in all your life as well, you must be rooted and tilled in the value of relationship and act with purposeful intentionality to build trustful partnering relationships with those you do life. A partnership takes at least two if we look at the business definition. Therefore, this selling content can be utilized in job interviewing, job prospecting, employee-employer relationships, marriage, friendships, mentoring, coaching relationships, relationships between siblings, parenting, etc., as these are typically a partnering of two. The same principles of good selling skills will produce monumental results if employed in these partnering relationships as well. It is tantamount for us to go outside the box in our relationships and die to a self-focus every second. Truly, a lot of people view salespeople as self-seeking, rude, abrupt, and overbearing. In a selling engagement, if the salesperson's focus is not value-increasing behaviors, then the relationship is not first. The relationship should be king. Remember, the value exchange must be both ways. A seller gaining a sale at the expense of the buyer is not a gain. It is a loss. The seller must work to decrease the cost of the engagement. This requires fierce intentionality. Know that it is terribly hard to engage difficult people. Work to mitigate not being a difficult person. Succinctly, the self of the salesperson is the driving force for the overtures of rudeness, abruptness, impatience, refusal to bend to another, and being overbearing. These behaviors are detrimental to relationship building, resulting in the job responsibility results of a salesperson being threatened, if not jeopardized. Let me extrapolate with experiential selling engagement behaviors. I had a cardiologist in Hendersonville, North Carolina, that told me not to close him. In sales training, I was coached to close after each selling engagement. He even tolerated that behavior for the first several calls, typifying that he probably generally liked me. Yet one day his cup tipped. He stated that he would see me, but I could not close him. What do you think that I did? Did I choose to execute closing in the selling engagement, which was perceived as a hard sales approach by Dr. Reibold? Or did I use adaptive selling and bend to his personality? I chose him, of course. I did not close him further. A value-decreasing behavior would have been to close Dr. Reibold, meaning that I refused to bend and forced my way. Have you ever met individuals that held rigidly to their way, Failing to be flexible or adaptable to another, this does not create value. Value creation is paramount. Let us learn to bend. I promise that we will not break. Collaborative synergy will result. I want you to know that I acted with value-increasing behaviors perceived by him. I was driven to increase the relationship. This gentleman wrote copious amounts of tenormin, a beta blocker, for congestive heart failure and hypertension. I honored him, and he honored me. He also became a cardiovascular speaker, supporting the use of tenormin in specific patient types. The exchange of value to me would not have happened if I had not bent to his style and individuality. You are to understand that relationship fuels collaborative synergy. Obnoxious, rude, self-focused, impatient, self-seeking behaviors demonstrated without regards to your buyer will not profit you in the long run. I discovered years later of his death after I left the industry. I grieved his death. That is relationship. Skeptics might say that I should have continued to close him, as my salary was paid by my employer. I do know experientially that excellence delivered to employer brings rewards. In my experience, when an employee gives excellence, the employee is not questioned. As I stated, there is a reciprocity that flows with relationship. You must know that high dollars are paid to have individuals that think independently, proactively, utilizing critical analysis for the sustainability of the business. I was never questioned with my selling engagement behaviors. My level of relationship building work was honored in that I was further commissioned to sales train, sales coach other district members and across districts as a medical representative and cross-functionally to medical representatives as a hospital representative. Know that you can choose behaviors that move you forward, coupled with your buyer as well as your employer. Experientially, I have found if I move others forward, that I also move me forward. Selling excellence is doable and captures value-increasing behaviors. Let us have a discussion. Why should you plan your sales calls? Why should you telephone to make appointments to see your potential buyer? Why should you do your due diligence and due care to find about your prospect and their organization? Why should you secure and gain personal information such as interests, family status, aspirations and goals, etc. of your potential buyer? Why should you really know their name? Why should someone's name matter anyway? It's only a name, right? Why should you make call objectives? Why should you form and write your call objectives? Why should you do your due diligence and due care with call notes after the selling engagement? Why should you intentionally maintain with excellence your customer relationship management system? Why should you strive to make appointments and calls as effectively and efficiently as possible? Why should you strive to understand your potential buyer's product purchasing patterns? The individual is the reason. The relationship is the reason. Know that the potential buyer that you are striving to gain a sale is an individual. Individuals thrive in relationships. Relationships create selling, building partnerships. Understand that relationship is to be established with the individual in the selling engagement. Satisfying all the questions that I ask with behaviors that increase value will increase the relationship. Further, striving to perform as a salesperson, both in pre-call, during the call and post-call with value-increasing behaviors is a model of best practice. A best practice is a model or technique that has consistently shown results superior to those achieved with other means and is used as a benchmark. Any deviation from the model of best practice will result in loss, not gain. For instance, a customer relation management system has as its goal the improving of business relationships with customers and assisting in customer retention. Notice that I said improving relationship, not worsening. I can promise you, it is easier to maintain a relationship than work at restoring a lost relationship. Many businesses gain a customer only to suffer the loss of the same customer. Work to fulfill accurate call reporting and call notes to effectively plan for the next call and have customer data correct, current, specific, usable, enabling you to form with excellence the next call objective. Further, work diligently to improve your phone skills. This will enable you to make appointments and to discuss business needs before the call. The value of phone use cannot be underestimated. The current phone use is not used primarily for talking. Thus, individuals have lost talking skills. I spent 2 years marketing payment solutions over the phone. I'm saying get practice with talking on the phone. This will greatly increase your value proposition. Work diligently to improve your conversation skills, as most are highly digital. In a social media-driven society, the art of conversational ease has lessened. Many sit in rooms with people texting versus reaching out to one another in word, i.e. relationship building. I'm saying talk much to people. Conversational ease takes practice. Similarly, parents are both engaged in phone use, not pursuing one another nor their children who are screaming for their engagement to gain relationship. I see this regularly at the Y. All the questions that I ask are behaviors that should be done. Work hard in these value-increasing behaviors to build partnering relationships. By doing so, you will increase your customer's value proposition. In fact, as a salesperson, you must increase your customer's value proposition in like manner, as I have emphasized that you must increase your personal value proposition. As you increase your customer's value proposition by your due diligence and due care to the aforementioned model of best practice, know that you are directly increasing your personal value proposition. Again, experientially, I have found if I move others forward, that I also always move me forward. The due diligence and due care to act with value-increasing behaviors that build and enhance the relationship, i.e., the model of best practice, should and will result in the trajectory of the consummation of the sale. Consummating the sale is the relationship. I am Nancy Sutherland. I am honored to deliver this business content.